Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Alright guys, Boruto episode 231 review. This episode right here was actually a decent little episode. This episode, unlike a lot of other people out there, I was actually hyped going into this episode. I really want to see exactly how Tsubaki was actually going to shine, how Tsubaki was going to do with her own specific episode. And it was definitely a decent episode. One of the good things about this episode specifically is the fact that it's not necessarily so much ninja based. Now I understand that it's not necessarily a big canon episode, like it's not really manga canon, anything like that, but one of the things that I definitely did want to point out is that Boruto expanding its range to not only samurais but also in a few episodes as well. We see it in this sport. I'm not necessarily going to specifically say, but the Boruto is essentially expanding its range of opponents. It's not necessarily going to always be ninjas, and I think this right here is definitely a very good way to go about it. One of the things that we do understand right now is that we're in a time of peace among the 5 main ninja villages. Because of that, it's going to be very difficult to actually find conflict. For example, if there's a serious situation in Tsubaki goes out and fights a ninja from the Hidden Cloud village or something like that, then most likely there's going to be some sort of confrontation between the Hidden Cloud's Kage and also Naruto himself. Now specifically, I understand that it's probably not necessarily going to get that big, but what we do have to understand is that there is still a treaty, and of course there could potentially be some confrontation at the higher levels if that treaty is actually broken by, hey, the Hidden Cloud village killing one of our shinobis or one of the Hidden Leaf shinobis killing one of their shinobi. So of course bringing in outside figures like a samurai is one of the best ways to do something like this. This was literally a battle to the death. Tsubaki actually killed someone she grew up training for, and one of the biggest things that I have to emphasize in these anime only episodes is the stakes. The stakes have to be high. The stakes have to be high, mainly because coming into an episode like this, a lot of people are already going to dismiss it as an episode that isn't necessarily interesting, that isn't necessarily going to have you on the tip of your toes, an episode that's probably going to be for children and things like that. And this episode right here was completely opposite. Now of course, when it comes to the overall production of the episode, obviously it wasn't necessarily like Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki or anything like that, Boruto episode 65, but this episode, because of the stakes, made it very interesting. Now obviously we kind of thought that Tsubaki probably wasn't going to lose because she's a part of the good guys, but also seeing Tsubaki in a situation like that, essentially having Tsubaki having to fight one of her old classmates and someone she herself actually did influence to go down this path, was absolutely impeccable writing. Now this right here, in my personal opinion, is going to be very big in regards to Tsubaki's character. I personally believe that the Boruto writers, they're probably trying to look for a couple of characters, some of the side characters specifically, to actually bring into the manga. We've seen this before already with Sumire. Sumire was one of those characters who had, I won't necessarily say a very big fan base, but she was liked by a lot of people in regards to the actual anime only cast. She herself has one of the biggest fan base, and of course that right there is most likely because of the fact that a lot of people want to see her eventually end up with Boruto, but nonetheless she had that fan base, she had that cachet, and of course she had the abilities necessary to be in the manga. I'm not gonna lie to you guys right now, I would not be surprised if eventually we got to see Tsubaki in the manga as well. When it comes to ranking the tiers of Genins or Chunins, of course the new generation characters, Tsubaki is right up there. It was emphasized in this episode right here when you see Tsubaki fighting against a character who was characterized, not to be redundant, but characterized as a legitimate demon. He's been going around slashing people down, he's been going around absolutely demolishing people, and of course story wise it might seem that, hey, he's this big strong guy, but in reality Tsubaki is actually on that guy's level. Tsubaki herself may have not actually believed in herself, but she's legitimately on that level. She is legitimately strong enough at, what is it, like age 13-14 years old right now, to be actually causing a lot of trouble if hypothetically she did decide to go rogue or anything like that. She is that strong, so hopefully in the future we could possibly see her in the manga. Now another thing in this episode that I did actually want to see, you guys know me, with the whole shooting exam thing, I didn't want to see Iwabe lose to Wasabi. I personally believe that Iwabe in an actual 1v1 fight, if they were literally bloodlusted, if they literally were trying to kill each other, Iwabe would absolutely smoke Wasabi in 2.5. That pack right there would be absolutely impeccable, but I did want to see how Wasabi fared on her first actual mission of her spearheading everything. And of course this is an actual life or death situation. This right here isn't necessarily like a random D rank mission. I want to see exactly how good was she. Was she gonna fold under pressure? Was she gonna come come up with the correct plans? Was she going to know how to handle Tsubaki, one of her underlings, essentially having a mental lapse because she's somehow connected to the enemy? And of course, Wasabi handled this very, very well. Now, the next episode is going to be about Denki. I don't want to get into that too much right now because I'm most likely going to make another video essentially talking about that whole entire arc. But the next episode is going to be Denki's turn. Denki's going to be going out on a mission. Denki's going to be going out on a mission that is actually a B rank mission that we actually did see in the preview for this episode. How is he also going to do? You know, it's all fun and games having these characters be promoted shooting, but when it actually comes to real life situations, they really have to lead their team through the trenches. How well are they going to do? Wasabi 100% answered the call in this episode right here, and I'm super happy for her. Now, Namida, I'm not gonna lie, she has to have one of the most annoying jutsus. This is crazy. I don't even think this jutsu is actually effective. Like, it just pushes the person back like 2.5. Like, I know at first when she was fighting against random regular gains, that jutsu is probably like absolutely insane, but like now we're getting to the point where they're going to be consistently fighting against shooting and joining level foes. How effective is Namida actually going to be? Now, I don't necessarily want to see, hey, multiple episodes of Namida getting power-ups. Let's keep it 1,000. She's most likely not necessarily going to be in the core thick of things, but oh my goodness, she gotta get some new jutsus to sub, because this right here looked absolutely terrible. Let me know what you guys think about Namida in the comment section below. Now, overall, specifically pertaining to this episode, I don't mind an episode like this, especially since it was Tsubaki. I think that Tsubaki definitely has some potential. Would I like to see an episode like this in the future? I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind these one-off episodes. It's not necessarily a full arc. Of course, this right here is essentially, you know, gearing up for the actual next arc, the next big arc of the Boruto anime that we're going to get to see start in the next episode. So I definitely do not mind episodes like this. One of the things that I definitely do have to point out, though, if you're going to make episodes like this, it has to be pertaining to characters that we actually care about. We cannot have a Chocho episode like this. We cannot have a Namida episode like this. We cannot sit here and waste weeks or a week of the Boruto fans' lives watching like a fodder character do nothing for a whole entire episode. So this episode right here, in my personal opinion, was good, but I don't want to see much more of this if it's not necessarily going to be an interesting character. Now, the openings and endings that actually dropped today, I didn't necessarily see it. I do want to actually live react to it. I don't know if I'm going to throw it up on my main channel, my second channel. Probably gonna be my main channel, to be honest. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below. Me personally, I thought it was a decent episode. It wasn't necessarily too crazy, but of course the character development of Tsubaki was definitely needed. I love how she handled herself in this episode. Didn't like her folding at first, but she spun the block and actually finished the job. But let me know what you guys think. It's been your boy Barbie, and we out.
It's a knife.